Hello everyone, and welcome to Comment Below, a podcast where we talk about the subjects of the week, but more importantly, what you've been commenting below. Ben and I delve into the mess that is social media, finding stories that you may or may not have heard about. Isn't that right, Ben?
That's correct, Alex. You can ask us things online and answer our questions such as, what surprised you the most after moving out for the first time?
That you couldn't cook. That was probably my biggest surprise, I have to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
And that stands to this day. 13 years on, everyone. 13 years on.
I can cook a range of 5 meals.
You're like my mum. My mum used to say she could cook and it would be warming up something in the microwave each night.
Wow.
Bless her.
You always end up with your parents, don't you?
That's true. That's true.
Abby replied to that and she said, I have been living without my parents for 5 years now and I'm still not 100% sure how to use the washing machine.
Oh, what has she taken her parents' house? So is their washing machine, or is it just a general washing machine?
It's a general one, I imagine.
I mean, did it come with a manual? You can go online. There's a lot of electric manuals now.
The best person is the woman on TikTok, and I can't remember her name. Cleaning out.
Oh, the woman who gives you tips about what pods you should use. I always use personal pods because I personally think they're the best, and I'm sure she's getting paid by Lever or whatever her own personal out there.
She's the best to us because I think she was the one who said about you pull that thing out of the washing machine and all the water comes out and that no one really knew about, did they?
No, yes, that's true. But then I don't know. We've got a tumble dryer and I don't know how to empty that. And miraculously, it's always empty.
I knew.
Yeah, exactly.
I learnt that on the job.
So I'm complaining about your cooking, but you know how to tumble dry.
Snowbuck said the instant regret of how expensive everything was not living with parents or being at university. The real concern if I'd ever be able to afford brand name cereal ever again.
Wow. That's a first world problem. I've never heard one. I do like a shredded wheat though, I must say. Shredded wheat with a bit of chopped banana and blueberries on top.
I don't really eat cereal, but the nugget. What's the donkey in the old man?
The golden nuggets.
Yeah.
I don't think you can buy them anymore. I think they're too high in sugar. Ricicles.
Sugar puffs.
Sugar puffs aren't called sugar puffs anymore. They're called honey puffs.
Why?
Because I don't think you're like sugar. Do you remember Ricicles? I think, yes, sugar tax. If you live in the UK, you know what we're talking about.
Are they not allowed to do Snap, Crackle, Pop anymore because they don't technically make that noise? Is that true?
Oh, really?
I don't know. Not sure.
That actually amazed me. Genuinely amazed me. I can remember as a kid, my mum telling me, poured a bowl of Rice Krispies, put the milk on top. And my mum said, listen, and I'd hear it and it'd be like when you put a shell to your ear from the I'd still back. I know.
The first time I was at my cousin's house because we didn't have cereal or things like that, but there they
luxury
Crackle Pop and I could hear it. Sounds very exciting.
Was it Kellogg's? Was it own brand? Was it not own brand?
With the 3 spacemen, wasn't it? 3 space characters.
No,
Snap, Crackle, and
I don't think they're space. They changed, didn't they, over time? I think they're like elves.
Showing my youth.
But Ricicles, for the third time I'm bringing it up, Ricicles had the space child on the front of the box, and they were Rice Krispies, but just completely covered in sugar, like icing sugar type sweetness.
Sugar's the thing here, because I like frosted shreddies as well.
Frosted shreddies?
Yeah.
I like a Frosty. I love a Frosty. Frosty with warm milk on a winter's day, and all the sugar comes off the Frosty, so you've just got the kind of sloppy cornflake with the sugary milk.
I remember when I was at my nan's, I used to have cornflakes, and you put sugar in it, and then you'd finish all the cornflakes, and then at the bottom of the milk, there would be a pile of sugar.
Yeah. That's it. So you're literally eating granulated sugar with milk mixed in.
Anyway, so we're going to start off with just a few headlines of the week, things that have been going on. Such fun things.
I mean, the wreck that is this country has calmed down in the last year or so. It's almost been a
concrete,
year, but it's almost been that's true. It's almost been a year since the Trust's mandate. So
it's been a year since the Queen died, nearly, is it? Gosh.
It's
about the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
She had 2 extra weeks of work, didn't she? Because
the Queen
down. No, Liz.
It was too much for her.
So the junior and senior doctors are both striking at the same time.
Good for them. I 100% support them.
Yeah, well, Nick Ferrari wasn't pleased.
Of course he wasn't.
He was most upset that they were planning this to go over the Conservative convention, their special day. So
from the words of a true Tory.
But I think user Don McGowan said it best when he said, absolutely loving Nick Ferrari having his arse handed to him this morning, trying to whip up hatred for doctors, but then getting 100% hit rate of people phoning in who absolutely support them. He then ends the segment suddenly. So we always like to see that, don't we? Nick Ferrari realising that things aren't going well.
Having his arse handed to him. we've listened to him on LBC a few times, and to be fair, he's fine. He clearly leans slightly to the right.
Slightly.
Yeah, but
he just says things that he's paid to say, I feel.
Well, no, he gets his information from the certain newspapers.
The headline.
The Daily Mail. Yeah, he reads the headline,
But not
doesn't. But not the substance. But what annoys me about Nick Ferrari is, and I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but what annoys me about him is the fact that when he interviews anyone, he starts every interview with the questions. Just for example, if I was interviewing you, like, so Ben, what do you think about the weather today? Good morning. And then he always ends it with good morning. So every question.
He does it on purpose to make them feel like, because when you're waiting to reply on radio, you'll then be like, oh, it's good morning. I need to say that. Do I need to say that before I answer?
And there's a delay as well. I've done interviews on the radio. Don't you know? I've done interviews on the radio before, and there's always, as you have too, and there's always a delay. So that added this good morning is almost like you say, like a tactic. So you're about to give the answer, and then you hear good morning, and you're like, oh, and then it discombobulates you a little bit.
Did you know it's rumoured, everyone, 78,000 a month he earns.
A month,
and he's there moaning about doctors and people wanting to. But anyway,
but doctors are doing better work than what he's doing. Let's be honest.
He doesn't get enough. He also does This Morning After Work as well for never little.
He writes an article as well, doesn't he, for either the Telegraph or the Mail?
He does. Another story that happened this week was neurosurgeons lead an investigation after a patient has mystery syndromes, and it all came from plucking a worm from her brain.
Absolutely,
in Australia.
Story. I heard this on the radio when I was driving around, and absolutely loved it.
So the mysterious symptoms that she was suffering with were headaches, nausea for weeks, and depression.
I've got all three.
It's a worm.
With the worm.
It was a worm. It was about 2 inches long, and it was removed from her brain.
There's a dirty joke there.
The thing is that apparently what happened is she goes foraging in like nearby lakes near her house,
right,
in the grass. Apparently, she then takes the grass and cooks it at home and eats it.
What grass is this?
I don't know.
Just standard
Australian grass. That's not important. And basically, what they think has happened. Also, one of the comments on this article, right? The first comment, nothing else, doesn't say anything else, because obviously the person just read the headline that there's a worm in their brain. They said, "Vaxxed?" ?
Of course it is.
So,
I absolutely detest
Does he think we're injecting worms into people?
Must be. Directly into the brain.
Through the tiny needle.
Directly into the brain.
That was ridiculous.
It's the microchips as well, isn't it? Don't forget the microchips. They're following you.
Anyone that dies, vaxxed? ?
That's what so mean and
just like two parents sat on a sofa like, my 2-year-old daughter died. Vaxxed? It's like, really?
There's a lot of that happening at the moment. Were they vaxxed?
And basically, on the grass, they think that there was snake feces, which had worms in them, and because she ate the grass, that's how it got into.
Oh, really? I see. When I heard that she got it from foraging in grass, because they said that, but they didn't say about the
worms in her ear or something.
Yeah, I thought she was kind of like putting her head in the grass, and the worm kind of crawled in. I had a teacher at school. I was about to name her, but I shan't.
No.
Just in case she's listening. Hi.
My teacher from school's dead. Well, my college one. No, this is before anti-vax. This was.
My teacher, who could be dead, I don't know. She had a wasp in her ear, and she had to have an operation to have it removed from her ear.
Get it plucked out.
Yeah, they flushed it out, I think.
Oh yeah, they do that on I'm a Celebrity.
I was about to say that happened on I'm a Celebrity. Yeah.
Who was that woman who had it up her nose, a cockroach up her nose?
I know her name.
Imogen Federid or something.
No, it's not Imogen.
No, I know.
Fatima Whitbread.
That's it. See, I was close. Imogen Federid.
Imogen Federid?
Yeah, I just called.
Sounds like a character from a game.
The Davine Comedy said, imagine going through the agony of this for 2 years, finding out that you have a live worm in your brain, and the whole world then learning that you're a manky bastard who eats the shit lying in grass.
Aw. Bless her. Each to their own. That's always been my mantra in life. If she's happy and she's not doing anyone any harm, in fact, she's doing herself more harm than anyone else, then let her go on with it.
Yes, well, I'm worried about worms. Apparently cats can give you something, can't they, which make you love them. Have you heard of that?
I have heard about that.
Like, it makes you like their smell and tickle them. And...
Yeah.
So maybe
is that what Charlie's done to us?
Maybe.
We're worried about Charlie, aren't we? He's not himself recently.
He's very sleepy, even for a cat.
Charlie's our cat. and he's not. I don't know. He doesn't feel like him. He doesn't seem like himself, and he's pooing in really peculiar places around the house. Anyway,
So there you go. There's your headlines for the week.
Very much.
Okay.
Well,
You learned a lot.
always a pleasure, never a chore. If you guys have any stories to share, or indeed want to comment below of this episode, then we are not embarrassed to ask you to join us on X at commentbelowpod, Instagram at commentbelow_pod, or you can email us commentbelowpod@gmail.com. Anything exciting you wanted to share before we start the podcast? You know, I'm itching to mention that I'm very excited about the new Super Mario Wonder game coming out.
What's that on Sega?
That's right. That's right.
That was a woman on a game show yesterday who answered the question was, who makes the Switch or something?
No, it's name a Nintendo console, and she replied Sega. It wasn't even a
Didn't
console.
win.
She did
Eliminated. I can't remember what game show that was. It was a new one with that Steve
Racing Star or something. Finish Line.
Who's the presenter?
Steve Owen's son.
Yeah. Not Steve Owen, Martin Kemp's son.
Martin Kemp. Sorry, Steve Owen's a character in EastEnders. Okay, well,
On the list.
I've got one first of all then. Obviously, there's been a lot of strikes happening in America over the Writers and Actors Guild.
Mm-hmm.
They're striking for fair pay.
Streaming, isn't it, really? Is their main issue.
Streaming is their main issue, but I think they've also got a bit of an issue concerning AI. I think they're a bit worried about AI kind of taking over
I wouldn't be.
the world.
AI's gotten dumber. ChatGPT is like really dumb now. Because there's loads of restraints being put onto it, and now it can't do much.
Well, they're self-restraining, aren't they?
Just to make it was really good before, but there's also, with good comes evil. With great power comes great responsibility, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Brie Vanderkamp from Desperate Housewives being interviewed, Marcia Cross, about this. They didn't get any residuals from Desperate Housewives being streamed all over the place.
Well, a lot of actors don't.
She said she didn't mind though because they got paid so well for that, so she didn't care. But she said for other actors who are just doing guest roles and stuff, it's really bad.
I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, it's fine for like the actors who are getting paid like $1 million an episode, like the cast of Friends or Seinfeld or Desperate Housewives. But that was also, if you remember, the heyday of television, like the 90s, 2000s.
Viewers,
they were drawing in a big audience. Nowadays, that's not the case. And streaming is king, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. Most people are now watching the television through streaming.
Especially if you're a top man up in the top of the towers, it's really good for you because you get all the money.
Well, like any capitalist corporation, let's be honest. Now, because the actors and the writers are striking, last time they went on a strike, which was, I don't know, when Lost was out.
It was like 2002, 2003, wasn't it?
They,
Dark days for me.
Dark days. They, a lot of TV...
I had to actually study at college for that because I had no TV to watch.
Gosh, that must have been a real bad time for you. Was it that long ago?
It was, yeah. Okay. I remember it very well.
Okay. Because of that, when they first striked, a lot of TV channels, and this was before streaming as well, a lot of TV channels relied on reality television. That's why there was a huge boom, because reality stars weren't under a union and there was no need for writers because it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was all real life and presented as it was happening. But Bethany Frankel from... I want to say Desperate Housewives, but it's not Desperate Housewives, isn't it? It's the Real Housewives of New York fame.
Is that what they created when the writer's strike was going on? Real Housewives, because Desperate Housewives was off air.
It could be. I don't know.
The Hills, was that what? Hills? Although that was partly scripted, I think, wasn't it?
Well, the Simple Life is one of the shows from the thing. There was a lot of reality competition shows as well, like the what's it called? Pop Idol, American Idol.
Oh right, yeah.
Dancing with the Stars. A lot of those suddenly boomed as well because again, you didn't have to pay because the contestants were either...
There you get paid with fame.
They get
possibility of fame.
I think The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is one of the offspring
those type of
from
things,
that kind of thing.
right.
Yeah. But Bethany Frankel from Real Housewives of New York, she's a bit peed off because she also doesn't get residuals for when their shows get re-aired. But that's not just on streaming; that's on any TV network. A TV network that's quite well known for sharing a lot of reality TV shows in America, at least, is called Bravo, and that's owned by NBC Universal. And
Below Deck.
Below Deck's another one. So she, with a lot of quite powerful lawyers has put a lawsuit against NBC against them, stating that she basically thinks that the writers and production crew and stars of reality shows should also unionize and be able to get, their own rights as well when their TV shows are out there. What do you think? Do you think that...
Play her? There's a clip here.
Well, there is a clip.
I've not listened to it yet, but I don't know anything about her. But we can...
Well, I don't know anything about her, but she put a compelling argument forward, let's be honest.
Although I've heard that she's meant to be not a great person, but...
On strike, entertainers are fighting for residuals and no one will promote anything. Why isn't reality TV on strike? I got paid $7,250 for my first season of reality TV, and people are still watching those episodes. We've always been the losers, the I'm up here, you're down here to the actresses and actors. During the last writer's strike, we're providing all the entertainment, and that's when really the gold rush of reality TV started. So I myself have generated millions and millions of dollars in advertising and online impressions being on reality TV and have never made a single residual. So either I'm missing something or we're getting screwed too. People on The Hills and The Bachelor and Bachelorette get paid peanuts to do what they do, and people can still watch those episodes from years gone by. Anyone shooting a Bravo show should not be shooting until they get paid residuals for all the other episodes that they've ever done, or those episodes should be taken down. Reality stars should go on strike. The Hills, people still watch The Hills today, and they don't make a goddamn dollar, and they were entirely exploited, getting ratings that network television doesn't get.
I get enough bookings on Celebrity Big Brother, though, hadn't I?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something else you could carry on with. So I must also mention that SAG-AFTRA, SAG-AFTRA, ABCDEFG, they have actually shown support. They've shown support, saying that they back what Bethany is saying. They think that she's within her rights to say that, and they should unionize. But as you say, yes, okay, she's arguing, yes, I'm not making any money from residuals. I only got paid $7,500 per episode.
Though.
She wasn't famous before. She's now got an empire of a company which is called Skinny Girl, and they make low calorie, low carb, low fat meals.
That's the thing I saw commented on.
And she's making money from that. She's kind of so if she hadn't had that,
have her staff got a union, because I've heard some things about that company. So
well, there you go. So is the argument there that she also was only famous from that? Or...
Yeah, how do you unionize reality stars? Because you're not a reality star until you've been on a reality show. So you can't unionize beforehand, because that would just include everyone. Like me and you could technically...
Well, if you sign up to a reality show...
Well, you then sign up to a union.
You then get the chance to sign up to a union. It's like any union, really. As soon as you start the work, you then
it's a bit of a
unionize.
I don't know, it's a bit of a weird one, because you get lots of opportunities from doing it. But then, what will that include as a union? Because will you be able to say, don't edit me badly, or take my things out of context? That's they do all the time.
Well, that's another thing she's arguing, isn't it? Is that the way they're edited is wrong. She's also saying that there's this kind of culture within the the reality TV which has taken kind of over the show as well, and that NBC and Bravo don't seem to kind of want to acknowledge. She argued that they were given alcohol on purpose. They were denied any mental health services when they were deprived of sleep. They had false. There was evidence there was false imprisonment, that they were told to do scenes that they didn't want to do. Also, it's saying that NBC Universal were covering up acts of sexual violence. I've heard about this actually. That it was another thing from Real Housewives, I think, and a different series where a woman was clearly getting domestically abused by her husband, and they were showing it on the show, and they did nothing about it. They didn't give her any support. They didn't help her, but they used it as a storyline, which,
and there's loads of stuff like that in England. It's been really bad. Like on ITV, it's been to be really awful for X Factor contestants, Love Island contestants. So more does need to be done. But is there not writers on reality shows? Because a lot of it's scripted. If they're told to do scenes and say things,
I don't think they're technically writers, though. I think the producer says, right, in this bit, I want you and you to meet up and talk about this. So technically, there's not a writer. That's why I say that now there's a writer strike. Reality shows will probably be brought forward again as a means of making programming.
What's Kim Kardashian now? She's now an actress, but she's also reality.
Was she an actress for?
American Horror Story.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did know that. I just made it raise my mind.
From the heights of, Jessica Lange. Kathy Burke. Not Kathy Burke.
Kathy Burke.
To Kim Kardashian. And she's also in the new, some animated show playing a dog.
Nope.
Paw Patrol or Paw Topia, I don't know, something, but Kim Kardashian, so. And she's still promoting American Horror Story, so is she not?
Let's be honest, though, American Horror Story has stopped being good since...
Yeah, I know, but that's really that's like the type of thing that show used to make fun of. Having actors like that, and now they're hiring them.
Yeah, but do you think they're not being ironic? They're saying they're doing it as tongue-in-cheek?
No, it's gone too far.
I mean, a lot of the comments weren't very sympathetic toward her.
No, I couldn't find many. A lot of people said they didn't like her, even though that wasn't to the point. But
yeah, I mean, Childs said they sign up to join the circus and are now upset that they look like clowns in the process. They're old ladies who have been pushed out by Bravo and are now doing this to attack the machine that made them famous and gave them the ego. And in the first place, this is
they're talking about housewives, I guess.
This is pure desperation. Well, no, you could put that with any reality show, really, couldn't you? This is the problem. Once you become known and people start telling you how great you are, you start believing your own hype. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem.
But it's a bit different. In America, it seems to be like it is a career, women on Survivor and Traitors and Big Brother, Suri. She literally spends her year going on different reality shows. So maybe people like her could do with a union, but I don't know. It's a weird one.
Like you say, it's a reality. It's a career, and they jump from one to the next to the next to the next. But then that's an argument then to say that if it is a career, why shouldn't they be unionised? They have every right to have support there. If they can't find work on a reality show, they should be able to have residuals from shows they've been on before. Are they technically?
But you can do lots of advertising and stuff. Your contract is a lot more loose. Like some actors and actresses can't do advertising on social media where reality stars can.
Well, I think you're thinking more of the BBC with that. In the UK, that's very true. The BBC can be very tight. If you're working for the BBC, they can be very tight if you do anything outside of the contract. But in America, I think it's free reign. The only thing is in America, I think, although the studio system doesn't technically exist anymore, we were watching a lot of programs on Apple TV and we noticed that a lot of the shows had the same actors in them again and again and again. And you and I kind of jokingly said, it's like there's studio systems happening at Apple TV. And I wonder if that is the case. I wonder if Apple signs someone up for a year and then they're put on 2 or 3 different programs to record.
There's a fly here. Really annoying me. Sorry.
Good, you carry on.
I will kill it.
Maybe Bethany's a fly that no one can kill. Here we go, I've got one here. I love Gates. I Need Gates said, oh my God, I read on the dark web that most reality stars are cattle prodded, starved and beaten mercilessly for less than minimum wage.
Pardon?
I think what they found on the dark web may not be true.
Yeah, maybe it's time for a bit of a change. Speaking of a change, what is the next subject?
Well, I was about to say, so on the Times website, they reported a survey of 2,000 British adults for what they considered was the worst or most pointless suggestions they have ever been given. The top one was just stop worrying. So, so you say oh my God, I've got this big interview tomorrow and oh my gosh, I don't think I'm prepared and I've filled up the car with petrol and if I get on time, I might go a little earlier. And then the responses from the other person is just don't worry about it. Just stop worrying. It's like, wow, that solved all my problems.
It's almost like saying, what's worrying you? And it's like, well, if I knew, I'd be able to say.
It's like when you lose your keys. When did you last have them? If I knew, I'd have my keys.
Things people say that is bad advice then, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. Bad advice, essentially. The second worst was revenge is sweet, considered by people revenge is sweet. I think as a metaphor, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. However, BuzzFeed picked up on this article as well, and they went on to Reddit and asked people for some examples that they were given bad advice.
Good.
And so I'm going to read them out to you and see whether you could add any more advice on top or the Agony Ben time. Okay, Agony Aunt Ben is here and he wants to help everyone out. So one of them from GBTWO88 said, or GB288 said, someone told me that I should have kids in my early 20s so I could just get them out of the way.
Well, that could have been true like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think that. I said, if I have a kid when I'm 18 and they get to 18, they move up when 18 and disappear, I'd have to not worry. But if you're thinking about that before you have kids, just don't have kids. Because if you're thinking, well, in 18 years I'll be able to get rid of them, well, then just don't have them, basically, because they'll free up an extra 18 years.
Get rid of them as in 18 years.
Yeah, they can move out, but that's not going to happen nowadays.
No, God, no.
So it's not 18 or 21. It's probably like 30, 35. People are still staying at home. Exactly. So my advice is just don't have kids.
Well, as proven, we have cats.
Exactly.
We are the crazy cat people. Get an animal.
Much better.
That's what I did. That's why I've been with them 13 years. Hey.
Yeah, if that's your first thought of having a kid, thinking how many years until I'm free of them, just don't have them and you get all that extra time to be free.
I mean, also extra money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I think if we had children, we'd have no money.
A child costs like £300,000 from birth till like 16, isn't it, or something? Also, people should not be like, because some were like, well, who's going to look after you when you're older? It's like not every parent is looked after by their child when they're older, so that's also not a reason. People.
Oh, that's funny. For a lone parent, it costs more to look after a child for 18. So for the cost of a child for 18 years, for a couple, is 160,000. But if you're a lone parent, it goes up to 195,000.
Oh, it must be more than that.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. But I said 300,000. I did.
If we're saving £160,000 in 18 years.
Yeah, exactly. See, you can buy a second house actually for that, or your first house, and just rent it instead of having a child. Or you can spend it on yourself.
50,000 cats.
Or spend it on your retirement to pay someone to look after you and not have a child look after you when you're old. That's selfish.
Can't you look after me?
I'll be old too.
Yeah, but it'd be like, what's that episode of The Last of Us when the two guys are in that house? That'll be us.
They didn't live to old age, they said.
Well, they commit suicide.
Exactly.
That's very sad. Spoilers. I think most people even watched or played the game at this point. Another one from 8579345008 said, I was afraid to tell my parents that I was bisexual. I told my counsellor and they said, yeah, it's a phase. Some kids go through it. Is it a phase, Ben?
No. Some people may be confused about how they're feeling and they may not actually be bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there is no rush to tell.
No.
Actually. And it's not a safe at home to say to them. Sometimes it is better not to come out until you can go elsewhere.
This really has turned into Agony Ben. Maybe we should turn this into a section, Agony Ben. Genuinely, guys, if you've got, if you want some advice from Ben, he's good at advice, to be fair, when he's open and letting everyone know. Yeah. Go to @commentbelowpod on X or Instagram @commentbelow_pod or email commentbelowpod@gmail.com. Put as a subject Agony Ben and see if you need any help from Ben.
Yes.
I'm turning this into a section.
That might help.
Vague something said on Reddit, I went to the doctor at 17 for depression and he said to write a journal of things that make me feel sad and eat more bananas.
Bananas?
Bananas.
Why is bananas?
Potassium? I don't know. I eat a banana once a day.
Eat chocolate or crisps.
No, that's bad for you. You don't want to do that.
No. For bananas?
For 10 seconds
like
pleasure.
They make me feel sick.
You eat a banana, though.
Only if it's blended.
Or mushed. I've made it into like an oat.
You haven't?
Yes, I have.
Well, I don't like that either then. I like it in liquid form. But what was their advice before the banana? Write a diary. Yeah, write a journal. Yeah, journals never really worked for me. I wouldn't bother with that either. Write a status on Twitter.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, don't they? And that's
let all your anger out there.
And then you can have the reply, "You're right, hun," and everything's okay. One final one then before we move on to the last thing. Soft White Bread on Reddit said, I presume this is from America, said, my career advisor in high school, when I said, I think I want to do something with computers, she replied, have you heard of Microsoft? Then she wrote the word Microsoft on a piece of paper, slid it across the table, and that was it. That was my career interview over.
Microsoft.
Yeah, work for Microsoft.
Sounds like Ken on Barbie movie.
Yeah. What's your job? Microsoft.
Beats. Well, that's just, yeah. That just shows that they don't really do career advice much in England. I remember doing it briefly.
At college, I had career advice at college. Yeah, it was part of my. Do Do you remember the A-level general studies, and every college used to make you do it just so they could prop up their A-level results? Yeah. Well, we did our school.
A-level, so.
Oh, that's well. General studies literally was as it sounds. It was general studies. So you did a little bit of maths, a little bit of science, a little bit of what's the last one that they make you do? Maths, science, and English. Yeah, you did a little bit of all of them. I think I got a G or something in that just because I didn't turn up to any of the lessons. But the thing is, they didn't want you to turn up to the lessons. They literally just signed you up because they got the funding for it. They didn't care. It was just extra funding for the college. It was an easy one to get more funding for. Final story then, and this is on the Mail online, so you know it's going to be good. A English tourist went to Germany and ordered. English tourists posted on social media a full English breakfast when they went to Germany for a holiday, in which their German hotel had served them. And he complained that the bacon was undercooked and there was a bowl of fruit next to it, because that's not a full English breakfast, apparently.
Right.
There's
a picture here, isn't there?
There is a picture here. We'll post it on our social media so you can have a look at it. It's for me, it looks like a standard English breakfast. It's mushrooms, beans, egg, bacon, sausage, toast. I genuinely don't know what's wrong with it.
I think that looks very appealing.
But an English breakfast isn't, though. It's just a greasy...
It can be.
Can it?
That does not, though.
English breakfast is only eaten after a bad hangover. You go to a greasy spoon and you say, just give me whatever crap you can put on a plate, please, with extra HP sauce.
Well, this one on this picture, there's sausages, bacon, eggs, beans, mushrooms, toast, a bowl of butter for the toast, I assume.
That's saucy.
And a bowl of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are missing in my eyes.
Yeah.
Hash brown.
True.
That makes a
waffle. Potato waffle.
And fried bread.
I tell you, Mark, fried bread.
So I would not have that fruit, get rid of that, and then it needs that. So I don't think that's a very good one.
Do you know
what is he actually moaning about? That it's the fruit on the side.
Well, he's moaning it's not a full English breakfast. He said, "How can this German hotel call this a full English breakfast? It's not."
It's true. It's missing hash browns.
I mean, it's a variation of it. I've
Plus, you don't know what was actually on offer. Did the person even ask, or did they just moan online?
To be fair, it's no better than I would argue in Morrison's cafe breakfast. I would say Morrison's cafe breakfast is pretty much similar, just without the fruit. Well, this was posted on Reddit originally, picked up by the Mail Online. So we're reading the comments from the Mail Online site, which is
the worst experience I've ever had in a while.
Which is always an experience, isn't it? It's quite literally the most disgraceful thing in the world. Big Bad Bob said, not in the UK, but went on holiday to the Canaries and had a full English, then helped myself to the fruit selection, something I would never do at home. But perhaps German tourists have seen Brits eating fruit on holiday. So there you go, nice considerate one, a nice sensible comment from Big Bad Bob.
They say you shouldn't eat fruit in a different country because it's washed with the water and it can mess with you.
You shouldn't have their ice either. That's why if they offer you ice, you should always say, no ice. But I always have ice and I normally end up all right. You're trying to give me dodgy meat, vegan little Aldi. Why are they? IKEA meatballs yesterday. Colin in Portsmouth, he wanted people to know he's from Portsmouth.
Yeah, very important.
Said, and you might want to just take your headphones out a little bit because there is shouting in this as well.
Okay, well, adapt to sound quality, please.
No, not having it. Not happening. Not on my watch. This is shouting, patriotic Brexiteers didn't fight in a war of 2016 just to have food mocked by the Germans. As far as we're concerned, this is an act of war. God bless Britain and God bless Brexit.
These people aren't...
They're not right, are they? Nope.
What are they talking about? A war? So he thinks Brexit was a war. So now he thinks that this German is mocking him and it's now another war.
With fruit.
So a very strong word, war.
It's like the word invasion, isn't it?
Yes.
Or swamped.
These people...
Or any other Braverman comment.
Do they really believe that, or are they just saying stuff online, is what I want to know. Like, in real life, are they saying this?
I mean, when I was reading through them, I did see a few of them, and I thought some of these are just jokes. And I could see that. But then some people didn't obviously see that, and so then they retaliated back. But no, I truly believe that these are real. Brian from Dorset said, I have eaten a full English breakfast every day of my life. So even from the moment he was born, he had it smushed up in a blender and stuffed in his face.
Him get off the boat, go into a cafe and eat a full English breakfast.
Yeah,
on the first
then get their benefits. there was no fruit involved. It's not possible to do a full day's work without a full English.
There is.
Unless, of course, you pencil push and sit behind a desk. So a little insult there.
Is he?
A little insult there for the council workers there. Someone did reply
every day. I couldn't do that every day.
I mean, it's a very old-fashioned thing again, isn't it? It's like,
do you think he forces his wife to make it for him? Do you think he makes it himself?
Of course he doesn't make it himself. He did get a reply, though, from Phaedrus 1966, who said, I can't imagine this is a great idea for your health. Once or twice a week, maybe. Even once or twice a week, I think, is a bit of a stretch. I remember as a kid, my dad used to always treat us to a fried breakfast on a Sunday morning. Rain or shine, we had a fried breakfast on a Sunday morning. But I was quite a big kid, so that might be down to that.
Might be why, yeah. It's all that fried bread.
I love fried bread so much. Don't you? The moment you bite and it's the oil and it just soaks down your throat.
Crunch and softness, yeah.
It's honestly organic. It's better than sex. The final thing, which kind of confused me, was someone called a Carrot Stein, simply put, boycott Cadbury buttons. Now, I didn't understand that, but it got more upvotes than it did downvotes.
Boycott Cadbury? What's happened to Cadbury
Well,
buttons?
so I had a little look, and it's one of two things. One, this Easter, or last Easter we just had, no, it's not what you think. It's not that we couldn't put Easter on the box. It was that they made the size of the eggs slightly smaller. But then there's another one where they were saying that there was beef gelatin in chocolate, and it wasn't halal. Or no, it was halal, and people were getting upset about it.
What?
So I'm presuming it's just the aftermath, of that kind of fallout, and this guy just wants to carry it on because he enjoys that kind of fun.
I'm sure GBUs will start a campaign about it, even though they don't know what they're talking
It'd
about.
be Harry's fault as well. Harry and Meghan's.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dan Wonton will get onto that in no time. So there you go. So that's the three main stories that I found this week. But as I've said, if any of you guys have any comments or you want to get in touch with us, and we'll be reading any stories, we'll be reading them at the end of the show. You can get in touch with us on X at commentbelowpod, Instagram at commentbelow_pod, or email commentbelowpod@gmail.com. Now, Ben, we end every episode with a special moment, don't we?
We do. A Facebook mum post of inspiration, which is where a Facebook mum, usually white, has a crushed velvet living room.
What's that song?
Shops at B&M.
Yeah.
Or Next. Posts
White Woman's Instagram. Woman's Instagram.
They post a very inspirational quote, which usually is the opposite of what they are like in real life. But on their Facebook page, they're very caring.
Is it normally posted, just out of interest, is it normally posted around about 9:30? Yeah.
This one was posted at 9:06 p.m.
I thought so. So they're probably on to about their third glass from the second bottle of wine. Yeah, or third bottle of wine. Yeah.
So take this with you for the week. Think about it, and we'll see you again next week, because you never know what people are going through. And sometimes the people with the biggest smiles are struggling the most. So be kind. This is a black background, white font, with a faded out picture of Caroline Flack in the background. So
be kind, everyone, and have a good week.
4 hug emojis. Well, there you go then. So we will see you all again next week for some more comments below.